Today we have an interesting little project, a bit of a dilemma, a bit of a conundrum, hoping that you guys can listen in, put your comments down below and help us out with this little problem. So let me talk you through. So here we have a nice little Canyon cross-country bike. I think we've had this in before. I think we did the InvisiFrame kit on it. The customer has treated themselves to a lovely SRAM XX transmission. Absolutely beautiful. They brought it off the internet, got a fantastic deal on it because right now that's super cheap. Can't blame them for that. But they took it to another bike shop. You know, we were busy, you know, Jake's off been all over the world, etc., been a bit of shorthand, and he really wanted to get sorted with it. However, the bike shop that's fitted this has run into several problems and it's ended up coming back to us. Now, the big problem is really around his wheels and compatibility, but there's a few things here which aren't quite right either. So the bottom bracket has been fitted incorrectly, so all of the preload has been wound completely on, it's completely off its threads, and it is way too tight. But also where they've routed the brake hose up here through the headset, they've got this slightly misaligned, but also that is way too tight as well. So easily fixable, hopefully there's no bearing damage. The big problem that this bike shop ran into is the compatibility. See, the bike came with a microspline Freehub, which would suit a Shimano type system. But obviously we need to fit this quite incredible SRAM system, which is on the XD driver. And I think what they've happened is they've run into this problem, which is really common with OEM bikes, which means original equipment manufacturing. So when you buy this, it's on the, the Canyon website, you get Reynolds wheels, fantastic, you get Reynolds wheels, but you don't really, because the hubs inside these are actually made by Ringle. So reaching out and getting parts is a bit tricky because here in the UK, we have a Reynolds distributor. They're great. They called Upgrade. They carry lots of parts. I've already been onto the phone with them. And they're like, Ringle, no, we don't do that in the UK. In fact, nobody does. It said you have to go to Ringle Direct, and so to find the parts, which we did. So Ringle are actually a pretty good hub manufacturer, and they have a massive instruction manual telling you exactly how to dismantle their hubs and all the parts you need. And we've highlighted the parts that we need. So we reached out to them and I said, hey, we need these parts, can you help? And they're like, one, this isn't in stock, that's not in stock, and we don't ship to the UK, only the States and Canada. We reached out to what's meant to be the German distributor, and they're like, no, we don't have that stock. The other disappointing thing is that even if we could get hold of one of these, I think we probably could, the previous bike shop has made a complete mess of the axle. They've chewed up this whole section here, which is not cool, and I think they've over tightened it here. This looks like it's been in a vise, and they've put several like teeth cuts into this section here. We could probably dress it out, but on a high performance wheel like this, it's a bit shoddy, and they've sort of destroyed this this nut, which I don't know how they've managed that, if I'm completely honest, because that's all fairly standard parts. But the other thing is, in the whole process, they've somehow destroyed these bearings as well. So these have all been over compressed and not cool. So we had to reach out to our customer. The customer came to us with, what should we do? They had the idea of fitting a Shimano cassette, going back to the Shimano cassette. This is the 12-speed one, and as you can see, it's significantly heavier than that, but it's also not quite the same gear ratios, it's not quite the same spacing. Had a quick conversation with the guys at SRAM, and they're like, we haven't really tried it, but we don't think that it'll work with the special SRAM T-Type chain. It might work, but not all the gears will be perfect. So that's not the rider experience we're going for. We do things properly here. So we need to find a solution for this. We had to communicate with our customer and said, right, what we've got three options. We could either very quickly get your ride in on your Shimano cassette. It's untested. We don't think it's going to be a very good experience, but it might just get you riding for the weekend if you need to. He's like, no, that's not really my vibe. We've got this option here. We could keep fighting. This is still looking at around a £200 fix by the time we get a new Freehub, a new axle, pay all the shipping, and potentially weeks worth of waiting. And the other option was just to completely rebuild the wheel with a new hub. And that's a DT Swiss 350, something like this is £219 by the time we get the right configuration. Stripping the wheel down, rebuilding it, we'll probably have to replace some of the spokes. There's 28 of them, around £1 each, so the cost kind of stacks up, but it's more of a long-term fix. So what would you do? short-term hack, the right thing, long wait, potentially still quite expensive, or just belt and braces, rebuild the wheel onto something that you know, trust, is reliable, but it's going to cost you quite a bit more. This is a little glimpse into the sort of the dilemmas that we sort of face on a day-to-day basis in the workshop. Really, I thought it'd be quite useful to share it with you guys. Get down in the comments. What would you do? Would you go back and complain to the bike shop that gave you this back in the first place, or would you just walk away and try and get it fixed? I'm really curious. It's your comments are so valuable to us. It really does give us great insight into the frustrations and emotions that you have around this. So please fire it up and I'll let you know how we get this thing rolling again. All right, thanks for watching. Take it easy.